Welcome back. It's so good to see you again. This is our beginner series. I'm your friendly neighborhood coach Jose, and in this episode, we're working on our serve. Before we do anything with the serve, we need to make sure we've got a couple things right. There's a lot of components with the serve and so many things can go wrong, but I'm here to make it very simple and easy for you. First, let's check out the grip. We want to make sure that we're using the continental grip or the hammer grip. So racket on its side like so, and then hand straight on the top. Okay, and you, as always, you want to make sure you're keeping a little bit of a gap between your fingers. This way you can have a nice, loose, flowing swing. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you're standing on your side when you're serving. Okay, you don't need to be completely on your side where you're parallel to the baseline, but pointing your front toe a little bit more towards the court. This way, when you do your serve properly, you can flow and move forward with ease. Now that we've got our grip sorted and we're standing properly, we need to work on the swing. Now the swing is very complex and there's a lot of moving parts, but I'm going to break it down and work in little stages, baby steps. We're going to work on the hardest part first though. The hardest part to get is the pronation. Now, what is pronation in tennis? Put very simply, all you're doing is karate chopping the ball, and at the last second as you're hitting, you're going to turn your palm all the way outwards. This way, when you hit, you're hitting through the ball. It's very commonly misunderstood that when you serve, you hit down where your strings face to the ground. Don't do this because you'll be hitting the net all the time. Now I know that there's going to be a lot of you out there going to question this and be, oh, I'm not sure that's actually how you serve. Well, I'll leave that to you. You go and watch some YouTube videos and watch how they serve in slow motion so you can pick it up, and then you can come back and tell me. I'm going to give you a few simple ways you can work on pronation while hitting the ball. Now, all of these ways right now, as you're a beginner, don't require you to hit the ball over and in. Awesome if you get it in, but right now, these techniques that I'm going to show you are about working on pronation. The first way, we're going to be hitting straight into the ground. What I want to see here is when you hit, you're turning your wrist all the way around, so at the very end of your swing, the bottom of the racket, okay, the butt cap here, is going to be facing up to the sky. So we're starting with it pointing to the ground or to the ball, and then finishing with it facing up to the sky. Okay, let's give it one try. The next and very easy way is called the slingshot. As simply as your racket is going to be the sling, okay? And the ball is going to be like your rock, your pebble. And when you do this, it's all about going from back here, okay, like I described earlier on, like you're karate chopping the ball, and then at the last second you're turning outwards. So it's coming from back, turning all the way out. Put it simply is you're putting pressure to go back with the ball, and with your hand you're trying to keep it going forward the whole time. You're not wanting it to stay back. You want it to push forward. And lastly, we've got the serve itself. We want to make sure with this though, we're doing the same thing of pronating the wrist all the way around. So there's two ways I've got for you to do this. There's the first way of where you're coming up and turning and you're stopping here. You don't want to swing all the way through. What you're doing is you're coming up and stop. Freeze where you finish, okay? The reason why you want to freeze where you finish at the top here is so that you can check your racket, have a look at it, and see if that you finished the right way. If you've done it correctly, when you finish your swing, your strings will be facing to the side fence. Let's give it a try. All right, I'm checking my racket out to the side. The second way of doing this technique is very simply flowing through all the way to the end. Now, when you do this, same as the start, okay, on the side, but when you finish, instead of freezing at the top, what you're going to do is you're going to flow all the way and finish on your dominant side. So if we're righty, we're going to finish on our right side. If you're lefty, finishing on your left. Now I know that when professional players and when you do the serve properly all the way through, you finish on your opposite side. That's correct. But while we're learning pronation, what I want you to do is I want you to do the motion and then finish on your dominant side, okay? And when you finish on your dominant side, it's like you're scooping something up behind you. The reason why I want you to do this is that way your wrist can pronate and come all the way through, okay? Don't worry, you shouldn't be hurting yourself if you're doing this because your wrist moves naturally in that motion, okay? Everybody should be able to point their thumb up and point their thumb down. If you can't do that, you might need to see a doctor. Let's give it a try. So we're coming all the way up and then all the way down back here like we're scooping something up. One more try. The reason why this one is probably the best one to learn for beginners is because when you finish like this, it's almost impossible for you not to do pronation. And I say almost because there's probably somebody out there that's gonna be like, I'm not sure about that. Now remember to practice frequently and focus on the technique. Don't worry about if the ball goes into the net or out. Focus on the technique and you'll start to see the results. And I'll see you in the next episode.